got a buffer like me.
Here
All
we go.
right. Yep. Here we go.
It was Texas, it was Tennessee. It was what I had come
Howdy, folks. Welcome in. You have arrived at the Texas to Tennessee podcast. My name is Steve. Up top there, that's Soul Gravy.
Howdy.
Everybody say hi to Soul Gravy. Yeah. But it's been a little while.
Yeah, it seems like it. We've had
Yeah. It's
we
been a couple
we
days.
we spent more time in person for a change than we have on the podcast, which is uh, not the norm.
Yeah, I'm going to bore everybody with, I guess, a quick little bit about that. So, Soul Gravy and I have had the pleasure of doing 150, 160 interviews, podcast, whatever you want to call it, over the last year and a half, and had never met each other in real life until last week, which was super cool. Thanks for coming all the way to DFW. That was neat.
Yeah, it was way more handsome in person. in person.
You are way more handsome in person. Also, shout out to Lady Gravy,
hmm
who was incredibly patient dealing with
The
all the
lads and
shenanigans that were
everyone
going on.
else.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to
Lovely.
Rugged Revival and Patrick from Country versus Metal, getting to meet them as well. So very cool.
Yep, that was a great week and super cool. But first off, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it as always. Working hard to bring you a super interesting guest. Tonight is no exception. This is our friend Trevor Thatcher of the Cowboy Saloon in Laramie, Wyoming. Welcome, Trevor.
How are you guys?
Good man. Thanks for
Good, good.
joining us.
Thanks for inviting me.
Heck yeah, man. We're kind of fired up. We were talking a little bit in the intro about how predominantly everybody that we have a chance to chat with is a working artist, and sometimes it's important to understand the other side of that equation. So we're very excited to have you on.
Of course.
Yeah, we've
Yep.
we've had I think one manager and a
Yes.
musicians, that wasn't putting out music for themselves necessarily.
Right.
But yeah, this was the first on that. It's still a very important, like we said when we were talking off air. It's very important part of the equation, part of the pie that
It
I'm
is.
sure
It
we'll
is. There
get
may
to.
not be a pie question tonight, by the way,
Okay,
which everybody will rejoice about that.
all right.
Um, Also, shout out to our friends at the different festivals that we've had on. So they would be maybe the closest thing
Yep.
that
Yeah.
we would
Yeah. It
have.
is.
So,
You're right.
Trevor, if you don't mind, could you maybe just take a few minutes and give us a little bit of your backstory, and then we'll get into some extremely hard hitting questions.
Yeah, of course. So my wife and I have always been in real estate, and I guess it was a midlife crisis or whatever, but we decided let's buy a bar. And so the Cowboy Saloon was where we had our first date 25 years ago. We both love music. My wife is like a masterful event planner, and so this bar with the big dance hall was kind of perfect for us. And it's been amazing, being like knee deep in the music with the artists and seeing what they go through, like seeing six guys pile out of a van with a trailer, just like in their sweatpants, and it's just the not so glamorous side of it is kind of amazing to be a part of.
Yeah, that's part of part of the light we do. We try to shine. I don't know if we capture it fully for a podcast, but we do try to show the not glamorous side of the coin as well. Because
Yeah, I don't know how they
just
do it.
just so people, the fans understand what they go through before they get to the gig.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot, no question. Well, I guess for somebody who hasn't been to your venue, could you maybe tell us a little bit, kind of give us a little description of the Cowboy?
Yeah, so it's a very classic honky tonk that you would hear about. It's got, wood slab bars and, trunk rails and hardwood floors, just very throwback kind of country feel, very
Okay.
country bar.
And then fully capped out, how many folks can squeeze into the
We
place?
have about a 650 person capacity.
Okay, all right. And then how many nights a week typically is the Cowboy open?
We're open Wednesday through Saturday. We take
Okay,
Saturdays, Monday, Tuesday off.
yeah, all right, makes sense. And
Yeah.
I know this is kind of rapid fire. It's not meant to be, but rough guess on number of employees it takes to keep that thing rolling.
We have about 25 employees.
Okay,
Yeah.
impressive.
Hmm.
So you talked a little bit about getting into the business and your love. Obviously, a really cool story about you and your wife meeting there. Um, what kind of state was it in when you purchased the venue?
So it had been for sale for 5 years when we bought it. And even before that, the owners were just, they're great people, but we had to do a lot of cleanup. And, we're trying to modernize this bar without taking away that like country honky tonk feel. And so, like, the first thing we did was just remodel the bathrooms. We completely gutted those, brought them all up to snuff. That was probably the biggest undertaking that we've
Was
had
time
so
for that?
far.
Yeah,
It has some aging sound equipment, some aging stages, stuff like that. So we're trying to work on getting all of that stuff up to like industry standard, make it a little more rider friendly for all the bands.
gotcha.
As far as like the dance hall itself goes, like it's in pretty great shape. It's the wood floors are a little worn, but that just kind of adds to the soul of the building.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. I think I might have showed the guys from the UK this last week a few worn floors, so
Yeah.
I think they enjoyed it. So,
Yeah.
um,
A couple
so
worn floors, and then one like state of the art venue, and from one
yes,
extreme to the other. So
yeah, for sure. Okay, so I guess my next question is, what are the things that there's always unanticipated things that you once you get into it, like the romanticism of, hey, owning a bar, that's going to be like the coolest thing ever, which it is, but then probably reality hits and you have these things that you have to deal
Yeah.
with, whether it's the bathroom or whatever it may be. But what are some unanticipated challenges that you've had kind of moving through?
So I think one of the biggest things is like I think one of the biggest expectations is like you own a bar, right? So you just party all the time. That's your whole life. It's great. You just hang out, party. Me and my wife decided we'll never drink in the bar just because it's a business and you want to treat it like a business.
Right.
But it's probably like all the little costs that add up. Even something like your ASCAP licensing or your BMI licensing
Sure.
and your sound guy and the opening act and you paying all these people and trying to balance all of the coordination and like when is the sound check, when is the load in, when are you going on stage, trying to coordinate making sure that the bands are advertising the same start time that you're advertising. It's like all those little things that you thought would be really easy, like you just figured out, right? And it's just like it's a little harder than you thought.
Sure. There are a ton of moving parts.
Yeah,
I
not
don't
a
own
lot
a
more than I
bar,
ever
as
thought.
close as I will ever
Yeah.
come to.
yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the next question, this is one I get in working with maybe some different artists, and I just kind of want your perspective. In terms of advertising gigs, what is your perspective in terms of, I don't want to maybe say responsibility, but how you divide up that responsibility? Because obviously you're selling tickets, and
Right.
without selling tickets, the whole thing doesn't go. So how do
You
you
know,
how do you view that?
I feel like when you have an artist coming to your venue, I feel like there is a responsibility on our part to get as many people there as possible. We want that artist to see that place completely packed and to play to a full bar and it to be amazing. So we try to advertise Facebook, we go Eventbrite, like our ticket sales. We try to get it out as many places as possible.
Yep.
Like I
So
know, and I think the artists probably have that very same feeling as like I want to make sure all my fans show up and pack this bar And so I do think it is important for, as a venue owner, to try to get as many people there to cater to that band as possible. Like, you want that band to love this place and always want to come back.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I don't want to call out any venues specifically. My view is a little tilted. Just my some of the things I do during the day maybe lean a little bit more towards the artist. But I will say there are some venues that don't view that as their responsibility, and so that's pretty refreshing to hear that you feel that way.
And I thought it was really shocking when some of the artists would come in and be like, "Hey, do you mind if you play, this playlist?" Like Jared Morris, for example, wanted me to play like a '90s playlist in a very country honky tonk bar. And I was like, "Yeah, of course, it's your show. Like, I'm going to do whatever you need me to do to make your show as good as you want it to be." But like, even getting responses from some of the artists, like, do not all venues do that? Do they not all want to cater to what you need to put on the show? And it seemed like it was me going above and beyond, which is what I feel like is just like a basic responsibility.
Yeah,
Right.
that's great. Well, Jared's a handful, so makes sense.
He gave our sound tech a hard time when he was sound checking.
He's
So yeah,
been known to
he knows
do
what he
that,
wants to
but
hear.
yeah, absolutely. It sounds the most important. It starts with the music,
Yeah,
right?
he's a true professional.
All right, Soul Gravy. I've got more questions, but I'm going to hand it off to you.
Okay. So when you first took over the bar, as he mentioned earlier, you got a lot of stuff on your plate. But when you first started having music, were you intended to have original, artist right off the bat, or were you doing the cover band world too, or how did you get to where you are booking was?
So we had a handful of like regional acts um, that were already booked when we bought it, and we had a couple touring acts already booked when we bought it. And so we really like to mix in the touring acts with the local people. We have a thing called Acoustic Fridays where we just get one guy on stage with a guitar and he plays, and that's a very like local kind of feel. But then we're always wanting the bigger bands to come in and the touring artists to come in and rock the stage as well. So we love to put anyone up there. We're
Gotcha.
doing comedy shows. We did a midget wrestling event that was just lights out. Like, we went over capacity and it was just crazy. So we're open to all kinds of events.
Yeah, all those little ideas add up, right?
I see what you did there.
Um, thanks, guys, for playing along. Well, I get all of that. Does your as far as your crowd goes, I know like in my redneck area of the world, like if a bar or a club doesn't have like if they have cover bands every week, people come expecting a cover band.
Right.
Is that something that you've had to navigate, or was that kind of already set there and you just kind of had to keep it rolling?
I don't know that we have a clientele that expects a certain type of music.
Good.
We have a very like predominant rodeo type audience. So when we get like that Texas Red Dirt, Tyler Halverson type bands, they love that stuff.
They're
Like,
ready.
that's perfect. That's kind of like right
Good
in
deal.
our sweet spot. If you like that Texas Red Dirt stuff, that's going to do well.
Well, is there a lot of venues in the area that are bringing those folks in, or is it
So
make it easier for
our
you since
biggest
you're one of the few?
competitors would be like Cheyenne, and they're going to be bringing in the little bit bigger artists. Like, they're going to bring in the Red Farrens and all those bigger touring acts that we don't necessarily have the capacity for. And so when it does come to those like smaller Red Dirt Texas stuff, we don't have a lot of competition for that. And locally, we're the biggest venue in town, and so it does help us
Hmm.
outcompete some of the other competitors.
Yeah, that's good. I mean that's like I said, in my neck of the world, it would be hard for a place, even if they wanted to have original music, it would be hard for them to navigate back and forth, just because the trend has been set for so
Right.
long.
I
You
mean,
know,
all the crowds all love cover songs. Like, they love to be able to sing along and just get crazy with the artist. So they all love covers too.
but like you said, there's not a whole lot of places for these artists to go. So when they come to town, I mean, like me, there's a couple of venues around that we've talked about. That when these certain artists come through town, I'm going because that's the only place
Yeah.
I'm going because those artists are there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Sorry, sound's back. There we are. So we're going to learn, or Soul Gravy is going to help us learn more
Okay.
about the geography of Wyoming. But for those who maybe aren't super familiar, how far away is Cheyenne?
Cheyenne's about 45 minutes east. And
Okay,
so we're
so
like just north of Fort Collins. We're like 40 miles from Cheyenne, about 50 miles from Fort Collins, Colorado.
okay, I know you said, and this might be too much inside baseball, but I'm going to ask anyway. I know you said you have maybe different crowds that you compete with, but do you keep an eye on kind of what they have going on music wise when you're trying to figure out your schedule?
We're always watching the Grizzly Rose, the Moxie, the Lincoln Center, Cheyenne, just because, like, if they're going to the Grizzly Rose, we're going to send them an email saying, hey, you want to stop at Laramie on the way through to, Salt Lake, all
Absolutely.
those kinds of, like, we're trying to route people through Laramie. We're on I-80. And so
Okay.
it's not a horrible place to stay if you're routing across the country. So we're trying to get in so that we are a good, routing stop for these bigger touring bands. It makes it a little more affordable if they don't have to come across the country just to see you.
Which is one more
1000%.
reason for those artists to love playing there. That
Yeah.
you're even thinking about those things.
And it's such a small, intimate venue that they, most artists love it when they get here.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so this is a weird question, and I'll ask it. What's a typical day like for you? I mean, I don't know if you could just walk me through what it's like to be a venue owner. I think that's something that I don't know, maybe not everybody thinks about, but I do. So I'd
Yeah.
like to know.
So me and my wife still have our day jobs working in our property management. We have over 400 tenants, 150 units that we manage kind of as our day job.
Yep.
But I do a lot more cleaning than I thought I would do. A lot more mopping, a lot more taking out the trash.
Yeah.
My role is kind of like, the facilities manager. I'm maintaining, fixing, kind of building, putting things back together. That's the part that I love to do. My
Okay.
wife handles a lot of the communications between the artists, the scheduling of any special events, weddings, retirement parties, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then we have a bar manager that kind of does all the ordering. She does a lot of the HR with the managing all the employees. But it's kind of a little bit of everything that you have to do. Like, I mean, if it needs to be done, you're doing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a huge value to that. You become kind of the expert at a lot of different things, right?
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yep.
maybe not perfect in all of them, but
Yep.
you're definitely pretty proficient in many of them, right?
Try to be that jack of all trades, right?
Yeah. So this we didn't really talk about, but I think you mentioned that you have at some point you have another venue that is not necessarily a music venue, but kind of associated. Is that right?
So we have a smaller bar attached that is kind of like, it's called the Spur Bar.
Okay.
So it is kind of our like early happy hour type bar, smaller, 49 people can sit in there. So
Nice.
it is connected. It's in the same building, but it does have like a different feel to it. It does
Okay.
kind of
It's the
feel like
VIP room.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
we do have a VIP area for the bands that's right off the stage. And then
Sure.
we have a big green room in the back.
Yeah.
But
Ooh,
it's
green
kind of
room. That might
the-
come up later.
Yeah, the Spur Bar is kind of like the staging area for the concerts when we have concerts, because the dance hall side stays closed, and then like people kind of gather up and start pre-gaming in the little Spur Bar, and then once the gates open to the dance hall, they kind of get in
Nice.
there and try to find their spot.
Maybe I misunderstood this, but you might not want to talk about it. But I thought you said, do you have a wedding venue or a venue that you rent out that is not necessarily connected to the bar?
So it's the same. It's the same as our dance hall. We're trying to turn this bar into like just a nightlife situation into a daytime venue.
I gotcha.
And so the
Okay.
venue and the dance hall are the same place.
Okay. All right. Well,
We've done a couple wedding receptions and retirement parties. And so that's part of how we're trying to expand the business, is by utilizing that space during the daytime.
Fantastic.
And
Yeah,
my wife handles all that. She loves doing the event planning, and she's great at it. So
during the dead time.
I just do what I'm told when that stuff comes up.
And it
Fair
makes
enough.
makes complete sense when it's especially I would imagine during like Wednesday, Thursday during those
Yeah.
times that everyone is in the spur bar anyways,
Yeah,
right?
and we
So
don't even open until 5:30, and so it's a
right,
pretty late. It's kind of a party bar with the, college students is our number one clientele, and they don't even start coming out until 9. Our
Right.
busiest hours is 11 to 12.
Yeah.
Steve, I just wanted to point out he was talking about being organized and all the things that he had to do. I can see his calendar behind him back there with the 22. Um, Yeah,
Gotta know
and
what
I had
day
to
it is
like
every day, right?
I had to double check my computer because not like I'm organized enough to keep up with the date that it is actually correct. So
Earlier in this
I double
podcast,
I
I
checked
thought,
that
forgot.
before we got on here. I'm like, that date better be
okay,
correct from this
that would be
website.
funny about
17.
being super organized and it's like 4 days behind.
Yeah,
Yeah. Earlier in the
that was the
podcast, I
first
forgot.
thing I looked at.
Yeah, super smart. Earlier in the podcast, I forgot my own name, so these things are really helpful.
right.
I did have a question. I don't know if you can peel back the curtain, but if you were going to give advice, obviously we talk to a lot of artists and the booking side, sometimes they're handling it, sometimes they're lucky enough to have somebody help them with the booking side of it. But every venue can be a little bit different, but just in general, are there any tips that you could give to artists when it comes to how to approach either booking in general or booking your venue? What are some best practices? What do you like to see?
So when we get so many emails every day from bands wanting to play the venue, and it is very overwhelming. And the one thing that gets our attention is when they attach music to the email. You'd be
Okay.
surprised how many people will say, "This is my band name. We want to play at your bar." And then
Right.
we'll have to like go find their music and look at it. And when you have 100 emails, it's really difficult to do that. And so always attach your music to the email so that we don't have to go find it. And also, like, if we go looking, we might find the worst song you've ever posted. So you get to
Yeah.
pick what we hear when you
Control
attach
that,
to
right?
the email. Yeah, exactly. You get to control your narrative of what we hear.
Makes sense. Do
Hmm.
you do you prefer music in a certain form, whether it be video or live concert footage, or do you prefer like, hey, this is our Spotify, check it out, or do you want a one specific song? Because I think artists want to send you. They may not be great at asking exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just shows up at your front door. But I
And
think if
so
you were, yeah, I
a
think
lot,
if you go ahead.
a lot of people send us their Spotify links. And that's great because like that's going to be like what you can sound like in a professional setting. But we always will go look for something live as well. Like we'll look for
Okay.
YouTube and we'll try to find a live performance. And so we'd love to see the difference between say a live YouTube performance. And we understand the audio isn't going to be perfect on that
Same
because you're
level, right?
probably a cell phone camera from the audience. But we also want to see like what you're going to do, how you react with the crowd, how you just stand on stage, how you carry yourself, because all that stuff I feel like makes a difference on how a crowd's going to react to you coming into the bar. So yeah,
100%.
both spectrums. Let's hear what you sound like on Spotify, which is very professional, and then let's see what you sound like live when you're interacting with people.
And sometimes the live performance can even be even better than the like a lot of bands are trying to capture their live sound on their Spotify or all their recordings in general.
Yeah, and
So
that
sometimes that
charisma
can
comes
even
out
change
when
your
you're doing a
mind.
live. When you're live, that charisma just comes out.
Hmm.
Totally great. Now, do you prefer, just from personal experience, I've had certain venues say they want to be communicated with on this platform, and some want an email, and some want a text, and one of them wants a Snapchat, which is wild.
Yeah.
But it's fine if that's what you want. I'm just curious, is there a preferred funnel for you? Where do
We're
you want
old
to
school.
see
We
the
just like everything come via email.
email?
I
Okay.
thought he
Yep,
was
it's
going to
easy
say
to keep track
fax
of.
it
It's
over.
easy to organize.
Telefax it
Like,
over.
yeah, no faxes, no Snapchats.
Okay.
All right,
He's
that's
somewhere
good.
in the
Yeah,
middle.
Snapchat. I'll forget what it sounded like, and then I'll go back to look at it, and it'll be gone. So,
Gone. Yeah.
All right, so y'all, you heard it. If you have interest in playing the cowboy, send an email, show
Nope.
some live video. I assume you probably get a few EPKs. Would that be fair to say?
yep.
Okay, all right. All right, well, we want to give you what you want, and we also want to make your job easier, whoever's doing this piece of it. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. It's
Did
very
you have
helpful.
to talk to any other venue owners or anything like that when you were starting down that road? As far as it's one thing to book somebody from your area, but it's another that's got to travel, across the country to be there. Did you just kind of figure that out on your own, or were you able to talk
Yeah,
to somebody?
we kind of figured it on our own. The only other real music venue that we have is the Griffin Theater, and we don't know a lot about them. They get a lot of government funding because they're a nonprofit organization, so
Okay.
they don't
It's different.
necessarily have to make money to stay afloat. And so it is a little bit different than what we do because, if we don't make money at the end of the day, obviously we don't keep our doors open.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, some advice might be different from what we would actually need. And so there's not a lot of comparable venues. We've really been trying to outreach to, we want to talk to the owners of the Grizzly Rose. There's the $1 Million Cowboy up in Jackson. Our goal is to kind of start networking with all these bigger venue owners, the Cheyenne, Lincoln, all those things, just to get the tips of the trade that we don't know.
Hmm.
We've met Eli Corliss, who owns the Moxie down in Greeley, and he has,
Okay.
even just a small conversation with him, I learned so much just about even the terminologies that he uses. I'm like, what does that mean? What does this mean?
Right.
I want to pretend I know
It's
what I'm
its own
talking about when I
language.
go into these meetings.
Right.
What is a Snapchat?
Yeah. You guys use Snapchat?
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, are we ready for the most interesting part of the podcast?
I guess so.
All
I
right, Soul
can't wait for
Gravy.
this part.
Feel
Folks,
free to chime in and help a
help
homie
a
out
brother
too
out.
if
Yeah.
you know anybody.
All right. So, first off, Trevor's hometown is Rollins, Wyoming. Rollins has a population around 10,000 based upon what I could find out. It's
Yep.
maybe a hair below that. Was named after Union General John Aaron Rollins, who camped in the locality, according to Wikipedia, in 1867. So shout out to Mr.
Hmm.
Rollins, sorry. So we're going to start with famous people from Rollins. Good luck,
Okay.
Soul Gravy.
Yeah.
All right. First is William L. Carlisle.
I mean, you said his middle name, so I'm assuming that is someone that's older, but I don't know what
Eh,
William L.
maybe
did.
he is older. He passed in 1964.
Hmm.
He was one of America's last train robbers.
Huh.
So
Shout
shout out
out
to
to,
train
yeah,
robbing. I think we don't
yeah.
see a lot of that anymore.
I'm
So
sorry that profession's going away.
yeah, it's
I
disappointing.
don't know. I've seen
Uh,
some videos from the Memphis area that prove that they're still active. So,
okay, fair
yeah.
enough. Shout out to Memphis.
Uh-huh.
Big Nose George.
Big.
That's his name.
I don't know what Big Nose George did. I'm assuming
Big
he has a big nose, but
Well, it could be. I didn't get any pictures. He passed
no
in
Snapchat.
1881.
Okay.
Yeah, pre-Snapchat.
I don't
He
think
was a
his
wild,
nose was that big when you look at the pictures. I don't know where that
really,
name comes from. There
like
must be a
normal.
story behind it because looking at all the pictures, you don't,
I
Hmm.
mean, maybe. Well, all right, I won't go there. He was a Wild West outlaw, Soul Gravy,
Okay.
and he was. I always find this weird. I think it should be hung, but it's not. It's hanged. He was hanged by a lynch mob in Rollins, so things ended badly for him.
I would agree with you on that, but
Yeah, hang just always feels
I
like
don't
I'm
even
saying the
say that
wrong
word
word.
because it sounds weird. I try to
It
go
does.
around.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He had there was rope
Strung
involved.
up.
All right. This is slightly connected. Lillian Heath.
slightly connected? I mean, is that
To the last person.
another outlaw of some kind?
Nah, actually, she was the first female doctor in Wyoming.
Oh,
She was given the cap of Big Nose George's skull at his autopsy. So
oh,
connected, but
shout out to her.
quite the gift. All right, this person I actually know in real life, which is wild when I saw him on there. His name's Mike Lansing.
Okay, I'm not familiar with Mike. Sorry, Mike.
Mike's baseball player. Played in the pros for a while, but he went to Wichita State University, and we're about the same age. So shout out to Mike Lansing.
The
Gotcha.
fact that you knew him in real life is actually kind of amazing.
Yeah, it is. Every once in a while, it happens.
We have a saying around here that says Wyoming is a small town. Like everybody knows everybody, right?
Right.
You can be part of the. You can be part of the state now. You know some people.
I'm pretty sure Mike was on the. Well, I'm almost positive Mike was on the national championship team. Wichita State has won baseball national championship, and he was on that team. He was a great player and played in the pros, so obviously he's very good. But shout out to Mike. All right, here's one. Russ Leatherman.
I mean, it sounds like a talk show host, but I don't think it is.
A guy that invented the Leatherman tool. I don't know. He was. He's the voice of Mr. Movie Phone.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah, we've all heard his voice.
Was that his real name?
That's his Russ Leatherman. Yeah, born in 1962.
Okay, all right. It sounds like like a game show host name or something.
All right. It does. It does. Jesse Garcia.
Jerry's brother.
Nope.
No.
Trevor, can you provide an assist to Soul Gravy on this one?
He's an actor that he's actually my age. We went to school at the same time, so he's always like the talk of the town. Like you get a listing on IMDb and you're from Rollins, like you're amazing.
Okay, let me look at. You can continue on. I want to.
Yep, that's okay.
I just want to put a face with it.
He's well known for his work in Quinceañera, I believe. Hopefully I said that right.
Yeah, and I think he had some like pretty small roles in some bigger things, but nothing that was like.
Yeah.
Quinceañera kind of put him on the map, and then he
looks familiar from. Let's see here. Since we're talking about this, so. He was on ER, CSI Miami, Law and Order.
Okay.
All those shows. Longmire. Yeah. I think that's where I probably remember him from.
Good show. I like Longmire.
And movies. Well, I'm not the best on telling you what movies he was on because I don't remember. I can't pronounce that one. Yeah. I don't want to. Oh, he was on the Avengers. So that's.
Oh, all right. Very cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a big deal. So shout out to Jesse. This one, we're going to stay in kind of the same realm. His name is Larry Wilcox. And if you pull up his picture, you might recognize him. So Gravy, we'll give you a video hint.
Yeah, I'm going to say that I don't recognize him by the name, but I'm going to pull it up and see. Are you familiar with him, Trevor?
Heard of him just from his show.
Trevor's not old enough.
The show was on, yeah, it was before my time.
Oh, what was he on? Chips.
Yes.
He was on Chips. Okay.
Yes, he was the other. There were two of them, right?
I mean,
if the main stars.
If this was something that I actually did, knew your answers by, I'd have pictures to put up on the screen. So
yeah, that would be probably a good idea, Steve.
But I'm not supposed to know about this. So
that's true. All right.
This proves that I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what? I thought you did well, Soul Gravy. We're going to move to Laramie. Ironically, Laramie more difficult, 3 times bigger. Feel like it should be easier.
It's like a university town. Like you'd think there'd be something.
Yep. There's
Chips.
Yeah. Shout out to Chips. Mm-hmm. All right. Tommy Davidson. Pull up his picture, Soul Gravy.
I think I know who that is. If it's the correct one, I hope it might not be the right one. I don't know, but there was a Tommy Davidson on not SNL, in Living Color.
Yes, sir. That's him, I believe.
Okay.
Shout out to you, 1 for 1.
I got one right.
Man, these are tough. I mean, Cody. I'll read one to you to give you an
Okay.
idea how difficult it is. Cody
Okay.
Lunden, survival instructor, teaches modern wilderness survival skills, positive living skills, urban preparedness, and
Yeah,
homesteading.
I would have known that one.
That's a tough one. Yeah, I figured
Yeah.
you would. All right. How about? Oh man, it's just. I mean, it's
All
difficult.
right.
Jessica Cross,
I don't think I'm
maybe.
familiar.
She's a former track and field athlete. I want to say she was in the Olympics, but I don't know.
Was she
Maybe
a
not.
cross country
Uh,
No.
I think she was a distance runner, but that could be verified by our intern later. Folks,
Okay.
that's going to be it for
All right.
Laramie. Shout out to Rollins and Laramie. Maybe we walked away with some additional information. Oh, hold on. I found a couple more.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Oh, that's not that person. Hold on. Hold on. I know that guy. I'm not going to bother you with that. So yeah, that's it. Thanks. Appreciate it, folks. Thank you for putting up with us, Trevor,
Yeah.
on that section. We'll get more to it. I do want to talk a little bit about. We touched on this, but a little bit on social media. Who runs social media? What's their primary function, and where do you, I guess, kind of view not necessarily your responsibility, but how you go about figuring out what things you're going to share about the bar.
So they kind of share that responsibility between Haley, our bar manager, and my wife Trinity. They both kind of double team that just because it's a lot. You know, we put a lot of stuff out there. Every event, every shout out, every time somebody mentions our name gets put on it gets put on Facebook, Instagram.
Nice.
We have a couple of our younger bartenders running our TikTok just because it's a young thing. So we figured putting it in the hands of the younger kids would probably be more beneficial for us.
Right.
So that kind of jumps back around a little bit on who's actually control that one. That one's a little bit harder to wrangle in.
Do you feel like you, I guess, have a pretty cohesive strategy in terms of communicating, kind of the message or the brand of the bar?
I think so. We basically just kind of like one person will create the ad and then it'll all kind of get spread out. And so it is the same ad. It's the same kind of, we're not all creating different things and, contradicting each other. So
Sure.
it's been pretty effective.
Great.
Hmm.
You also talked a little bit about learning from others. Anything that you can share in terms of, I don't know if you would call it a mentor or a cohort or somebody, where you go, okay, I've taken things away from these conversations that might end up helping.
So as far as the venue side goes, it's been hard to find a good resource for a venue of our style in Laramie. Um, Chancey Williams kind of grew up in the Cowboy, and he has been a great resource for us. He's always making himself available for me when I have questions about, want to do something with the stage, or I want to do something with the green room, or what do you think about doing this, or what do you think about doing that? And so he's been on so many different stages that he has great advice for how we can improve and make it better, for the artists, because we've always wanted to cater to the artists. The patrons in the bar, we obviously have to create a good experience for them. Drinks have to be good, environment has to be great. But if we can get great artists on the stage, that will cater to
You solve some
the
other problems.
clients.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. For those of you that aren't familiar with Chancey, man, what a great dude. I mean, just
So down to
uh,
earth.
yeah, you can't say enough good things. We're trying to get him on here, but he might be a little beyond us, but we'll see.
He's
We'd like to
busy.
get
He's
Chancey
a
to
busy
join us.
man.
He is
Yeah.
very busy. Um,
Beyond us
I
sounds
guess
nice. I like the way you put that. uh, I just said, beyond us. Yeah, I'm gonna start using that. It sounds distinguished and shit. So, all right.
oh
Are you
yeah, all right,
lagging?
absolutely,
Okay.
a little bit. Yeah,
Okay.
it's probably me. This is another kind of strange question, but how do you define kind of success, and are there any I don't know, benchmarks or goals, that things that you want to accomplish over the next, I don't know, few years, or things that will make you feel like, all right, we've definitely moved in the direction we want to move?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So I guess like at the end of the day, we want people to come. We want everybody to want to play at the Cowboy. We want to create an environment, whether it's our hospitality towards them or our venue or our stage or our crowds, that they just think this place is amazing. If you're in the area, you have to stop there. We want everybody talking about, if you're in the area, you should play the Cowboy Saloon. We can't always pay these big acts what they want just because our capacity is so small. But if we
Sure.
can create an environment where they feel comfortable and it's kind of like a great experience, lively crowds, great
Convenient.
hospitality in the green room, we feel like that's kind of our goal and that's kind of what we're trying to achieve.
That,
Have,
uh,
I
go
was going
ahead.
to say, besides like your hometown folks, people that are passing through, have you been able to pick their brains a little bit as far as, what they've experienced at other venues and what they like, what they don't like?
Some of them I can talk to. Some of them are, it's kind of like so fast with sound check and
Yeah,
setup,
yeah,
and then they go eat, and then they come back. And I don't want to be that annoying guy that makes them sit there and answer all the questions. So there's been times where you can create a relationship with somebody and you can ask them those questions. And I try to get as much out of anybody. Like I ask questions to everybody, even if they're telling me something I already know. I still want to listen because there could be that one little nugget of information that the last guy didn't tell me.
yeah. I think that's something that a lot of the folks that go to shows might not understand how chaotic that is from the time that they, as you said earlier, pile out of the van in the sweatpants
Yeah,
to the time they actually the drums, they count to four for the first time. That's there's a lot that goes in, and if there's any hiccups, it just makes it even more, take longer to get to the right places. Like I try to interview, people at venues, and they'll have 30 minutes in between sound check and when they get time to eat, you know,
yeah,
and they're willing to give you 25 of those 30 minutes, and you have to be appreciative of that, and they're appreciative of you, but it's still, it's it's
yeah.
unorganized chaos in some
It's
way.
a
I mean,
schedule to keep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
It,
we
it,
have a
it,
unique challenge as far as like say this Friday, for example, we have a band coming in and they have to sound check and they have to be done by 5 because we have the UW wrestling banquet that starts at 5:30 and goes to 8, and then so they have to come in and sound check. They have to be done before this event starts. Then we can do this event, and then right after the event they go on stage and they can play. So it's even more when you're trying to work these events into the same day. So it's a lot of moving parts, like you said.
but
It's
but you have to stay afloat
yeah,
financially,
right.
so
If you have to make that money, a giant building like that has a ginormous mortgage to go with it. I feel like I know
Yeah.
all entrepreneurs they give most of their money to the government and taxes and insurance and mortgages and utilities. For
Yeah.
all I've
And
done.
then the wrestlers start, getting up on stage and fiddling with all the buttons and
Most of them,
sound
most of
checks.
them actually work for us as security,
Oh,
so
okay.
they
All
better
right.
not be messing around.
All right. Well, that leads into I guess the next question. I can tell you're either an alumni or a big supporter and fan. Can you talk a little bit about how the university plays a role in kind of everything, that all decisions that you make?
Yeah, so athletics in this town is huge. Wyoming, Laramie, Wyoming is the only place that actually has any sports teams. We have this thing called One Wyoming, right? We have one college team, we have one basketball, one football. Like everybody rallies around that one team. And so game days are huge for us because the entire state comes to Laramie. Everybody comes to watch football, everybody comes to watch basketball. We have a huge wrestling program. They're, top 25 every year. So if you can leverage those athletes to, come to the bar, or you can get the athletes to the bar, hire the wrestlers, and then, people want to see that stuff. People are drawn to that type.
Sure.
Mhm.
I imagine there's one or two Josh Allen fans in the state.
Oh
That'd
my
be safe
God,
to
he's
say?
huge. Legendary Josh Allen. Yep.
Yeah. Very,
What
very exciting to watch Josh.
Yeah.
have you been able to with some of the college kids that you know, has that helped you find artists to bring in? You know, those the artists that fit your venue.
Yeah, absolutely. Laramie is just chock full of people that can play music. Like it's a whole bunch of young creative people coming to Laramie,
Mm.
and so it feeds our. We do this like that Friday acoustic night where we just put someone up there and we just let them play.
Mm.
We don't necessarily screen them too hard on what types of music. It's just like go up there and do your thing, and it's there's a never ending list of those people who want to just come up and play.
Yeah.
Because they're getting a chance to go do their thing.
And they're here, so it's like they don't have to like drive and travel and unload. It's just they just show up and play and then leave.
What about some of the college kids helping you find the acts that the traveling acts? Because
I
that's
get
really hard to keep up with. There's
I
so
get
many people.
5, 6, 7, 8 people every single night saying, "Hey, my friend's in a band. You should hire them. And here's their information." And I just say, "Hey, have them send us an email. Make sure they text the music. Don't send a Snapchat."
If you yeah, if you want to confuse the young people, just or make them jump through the hoops, tell them you need a fax
Yeah,
Right.
I
and see
mean, I
how they
think
like
email
if
is
they
hard
actually
enough
get.
for them. Like they're like out of the email thing. I'll send some of
Oh
our
yeah.
tenants emails, and they'll go weeks without checking them. I'm like, we told you this via email.
Yeah. This is kind of how this deal
They all
works.
want me to text
Well,
them, and it's harder to manage a text system than it is an email system.
I also imagine there's that one or two people that says, "Hey, man, I just found this awesome new band. It's called Treaty Oak Revival. You should have them up,
Oh
right?"
yeah, we asked like, who do you think we should get? They're like, you should get Cody Johnson. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Or he's pretty
of
good.
course. Yeah,
Yeah. It's hard to be hard to keep everybody happy. I know.
yeah,
So
it's tough. Like we would love
But but
any of
it
those people to come
but
in.
it is nice to find the Cody Johnson that was 10 years ago to get him to come to your
yeah.
venue.
Yeah,
And that's the I think that's what I was meaning as far as the college kids to know to help you find those people that would that would actually draw the crowd,
well, and
the correct artist for your
I think
venues.
that every time someone says, I'm like, what if this person is telling me the new Zach Top, or what if it's the new,
Right.
what, and like this guy that we're giving a chance could be the next, whatever.
Right.
And so we had a
Yeah.
kid come up to us at the bar one time, and he's like, "Hey, I'd love to play here. This is my band, this is my Spotify, this is my that." And we're like, "Okay," and we gave him a chance, and he was great. And so like there are so many like diamonds in the rough in a town like Laramie that you don't want to miss that opportunity, but it's also very overwhelming with the number of people that are putting
Sure.
their music in our
Absolutely.
inbox.
Yeah. Understood.
I can speak to last Wednesday, and I wasn't even really in charge of anything. So we put on a little event last week, kind of tied in with our podcast in Fort Worth, and we had a big song swap and whatnot, and like just trying to be in charge. I don't even know if I should say in charge, but just like trying to be responsible for getting stuff done, and it wasn't even my venue. We were just using the venue.
Yeah,
And literally, my brain was scrambled by the time we hit about 8 o'clock that night. So,
exhausting
much
sometimes.
respect to you on that for sure. If you could change one thing about the music industry in general, or it could be on the venue side, it could be on the act side, it could be on anything. But what would be one thing that you would like to see changed or improved?
The management is sometimes tough. No offense to those managers out there, of course,
Sure.
but sometimes they just don't respond. They have these bigger venues or they have these huge schedules, and
Mhm.
we're trying to just get these people like buttoned down to a day so that we can kind of move on and schedule it. And they
Right.
just they don't have a lot of you know time management, I guess. Like we'll go
Makes
weeks
sense.
without hearing back from somebody, and then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we got this date available, and we've already booked it." And so it's
Right.
I wish the management side was a little better, and obviously I don't know how to fix that, but that's a hurdle. That's a hurdle for us.
Yep. That's good to know. Also,
the bands probably, you have your problems with the booking, and a lot of bands have their problem with the
Yeah, they have
booking
the same
side of it
issues.
too.
They have the exact
Yeah,
same
yeah,
issues that we do. They're like, we want to play there, but our management is not confirmed it yet, and
right,
so it's like there's a lot of back and forth on both sides.
makes sense.
and then other venues not actually. I mean, other venues can set a standard that's not necessarily great as well, as far as not replying back and
Right.
whatever. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
that's
improved communication on all ends, right?
I mean,
mm,
when we bought this and we got access to the inbox, we had emails from Cooper Allen saying he wanted to come play the Cowboy. No one replied to it.
Yeah,
And I'm like, come
yeah,
on,
that's wild, right?
that's tough. Like, there's a lot of unreplied emails in there, and I was like, we were kind of that venue before we bought it, and that's we've always prioritized the artists and trying to make sure that they at least get a response, even if it's we don't know when we can get you on the calendar. It's some response, even if it's a no, or even if it's
Right.
we're not interested. We try to respond to them in a reasonable
I would
time.
imagine a lot of artists appreciate that
Right.
because
Yeah, because we do too. Like, we appreciate it too. Like, if you're a manager and you can't get us in the schedule, just say we can't get you, or even if they say like, this guy costs $100,000, are you going to be able to pay that? I'll be like, no, we're good.
Yeah,
We can
not
move
gonna
on.
fit.
you don't
Right.
have to
Yeah,
waste
it's
each
not
other's
quite going
time
to fit what
anymore.
our clientele has.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's I find interesting is the artist at a certain level end up getting the request as well for openers,
Yeah,
and that gives the artist a taste of like, all right, if you can't manage that, then you can't really complain about
that's a good point.
a venue not getting back to you, because these are your fellow artists and people that are your friends and whatever. So getting to see a little bit of that is interesting.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah.
So
So anyway, I think we're
so
ready for. Oh, maybe
people that
not.
aren't in the scene, who I mean, explain how an opener gets on the bill. I know there's a couple different ways, but either one of you.
Yep. So I'll take it from the artist side. I mean, you just get hammered
So
with,
each so
hey, I want to. Yeah, I
each
want to.
ven each maybe tour, each date or
Each
whatever,
show.
it could
Yeah.
be, some is the artist's responsibility, some is the venue's responsibility, right?
Yep.
It's always different. Not
Yeah.
always
There.
different, but you know what I mean.
Yes, I do know what you mean. I'm going to try to answer this the best that I can. There are some venues that really prefer to pick the
Hmm.
opening act. There are a lot of venues that really are indifferent. They just want to make sure that is,
That there is one.
yeah, and the communication is good there. And then
Hmm.
there are, I guess, some venues that prefer to have the artist choose. So it really just, I mean, it kind of varies. But that being said, whether the artist is choosing or whether the venue is choosing, it feels like the venue is getting hammered with requests for openers and the artist is getting hammered with requests
Right.
for openers. So it just, I mean, that's kind of one of those things, I think, at least from the artist standpoint, to make sure that communication is pretty clear up front in terms of how the venue wants to be communicated with. And then second, what's the situation with an opener? Is that something that you choose? Is that something that we choose? Or, like sometimes it's a combined decision. So it really varies from venue to venue
Most
from
of the
what I've
time,
found.
our artists have their openers picked out. There's some times when they'll be like, "Hey, we don't have an opener. You guys want to pick one?" And we kind of have a handful of people that we will just throw in there that are
You can
always willing to
rely
play
on.
and can respond on a short notice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could see that, having the ones that you're comfortable with are already in the wheelhouse, ready to
Yeah,
go.
but even then, there is some back and forth because we won't put an opener on stage that isn't approved by the artist. Like, we want to make sure that the artist is okay with the opener as well.
Hmm.
And that's not always the case. So shout out to you guys for doing that. Um,
We don't want
Sometimes
to
it's
ruin
like,
someone's
this is
vibe.
the
We don't
person,
want to ruin
and
someone's vibe.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, that's great that y'all care about it that much to do it. So, all right, are we ready for rapid fire? Because
Hmm.
we made a commitment to get Trevor out of here
Yeah,
within an
yeah.
hour, and
I,
we're
I
starting to
didn't.
press up against it.
I
Who
didn't
knew we
mean
would
to.
have so many questions?
I didn't mean to throw in the last one. And
No,
No,
that's
you're
great.
good, man.
That's a great question.
Good question. All right, so these are rapid fire questions.
That's what I do.
Hopefully we don't have. There's not a ton of thought that goes into it, but there will be a little bit of thought. So
right.
we're getting near the end of the year. Trevor, I'm curious what is on your Spotify Wrapped, and if you don't know what that is, I can explain that real quick.
What does wrapped mean?
So at the end of the year, Spotify sends you a list and goes, "These are the people you've been listening to this year the most."
Okay. It would be all the line dances because they just play constantly through the bar every night. It's just
Okay.
yeah.
So all the line dances.
Yeah, like Copperhead Road and
Oh yeah. Okay.
Freight Train.
Nice.
A lot of Pink Pony Club would definitely be on there because that
All
song
right.
goes through the playlist regularly
That's nice.
for some reason.
So let's say there was a Spotify list just for your car.
Yeah.
What would that look like?
So I have really been getting into that red dirt, country, Tyler Howerson and of course Jared Morris is on my playlist
Nice.
because I listen to his stuff every day.
Appreciate that.
I love his like punk cowboy stuff. Like I grew
new
up
stuff's
listening
really
to
cool.
Nirvana and Weezer and Metallica and all those, Sublime. That was like grunge was my thing back in the '90s. And so when
Yep.
when you could mix my now country with my then grunge, I love it.
Which is
I dig
exactly
that.
what he's. Which is
Yeah,
exactly what he's
when I
trying
first
to
heard
do,
him, I
right?
was like, dang. I met him during the White Trash Bash, and he had a puka shell necklace on, and I was like, is that part of the costume, or is that something he normally wears? And I was like, I'll just let this
No
play
telling.
out. But
Right.
then he got up there and sang, and he's really good at what he does.
Awesome. Well, appreciate that. You get dinner with one historical figure. Who are you breaking bread with?
I thought about this a lot because I've listened to podcasts a couple
Okay.
times. It
Okay.
was between like Henry Ford and Steve Jobs. Like they're so innovative, they can create things that nobody ever thought of. I love to build, I love to create, I love being in business, and so like those two definitely would be a great time at dinner.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
I
All
would
right,
be able
cool.
to learn a lot from them.
That's a great answer. This one is a green room adjacent. So, one, have you made any changes to the green room since you purchased the venue?
So when we bought the venue, there was probably a 9 foot by 9 foot old walk-in cooler, and must have been carry out because it has like the glass doors that open. And
Oh,
so they
okay.
pulled the glass doors down and put a black trash bag over them, and that was the green room. Like that's where they expected Lainey Wilson to hang out when she came,
Wow.
and Lou Grimes. And so we have completely gutted that entire room, and
Okay.
now we have like a corner couch and a coffee table, and the green room is what we put a lot of effort on. We haven't done a lot of remodeling in there to this point just because of the cost of that, but they get the
Sure.
whole room to themselves now, so it's just like a giant 15 by
Nice.
15 room that they get to hang out in.
Well,
Weirdest, you don't have to say who, but weirdest request from an artist of something they want in the green room.
We've actually had some with like one red apple and one green apple and weed
Oh,
if it's legal.
okay.
So
All
I'm
right.
like, okay.
Interesting.
And we got one green apple and one red apple because that's what we do.
Those are both legal, sir.
Yep.
So I
All
would
right.
say if whenever you tackle that complete renovation, if you really want to win over the artist hearts, especially the ones in that van, shower.
Shower,
They
bathrooms
would
on the
love you
list.
love you
Yes.
With the
forever if
door
there
that
was a
closes.
shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know that's not an easy undertaking
That's
depending on
been
the
advice. Yeah,
situation,
we
but
won't finish it without having a shower for the band.
yeah,
We're
Nice.
gonna put laundry facilities back there as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those are.
yeah,
Yeah,
Part of
they'll
the
that's
goal.
such a
The
bonus.
goal anyway.
they'll love you for life.
All right. First concert you attended, and then first concert that you paid to go see.
So the first concert I attended was at the University of Wyoming. It was a country concert. I think it might have been like Kenny Chesney. There was 4 acts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was like a kickoff show to a football game that the university brought in, and it was actually my first country concert. It was when I met my wife, and she's like, "Well, let's just go to this country concert." And I was, I listen to Metallica. I'm like Nirvana. I don't listen to no country.
Right.
And so, you go and hear those songs and you're like, okay, it's like Toby Keith, man. Those songs are about me.
Right.
So I was like, okay. And so that's kind of my like intro into country. And then I would say the last concert I paid for was Morgan Wallen.
Okay. Nice. And then, do you have a venue that you really would like as a fan to go see a concert at that you haven't had a chance yet to?
The Grizzly Rose is on our list. We've been to a concert there, but it was a late concert and we did a little too much pre-gaming, so I don't really remember that one
These
100%.
things
So I would
happen.
love to revisit that one.
Right. Okay. Good answer.
Mhm.
All right. Last question I have for you. You get one fictional character as a friend. Who are you choosing?
Oh,
He's throwing
man.
out the ones that weren't on the podcast, throwing you
That's
the
right.
curveballs.
Yeah, I figured we ought to have one curveball. in there.
Maybe Papa Smurf because he looks weirder than me and he's super wise.
He is super
Takes
wise.
care of everybody.
He
Yeah.
does. Underrated answer right there with Papa
Mhm.
Smurf. All right, folks, you have made it to the end of the podcast almost. We have one very important question.
That's
But
right.
before
He's
we
done
get to
homework.
that, yes, I think maybe he's done his homework. But also, Trevor, if you could, do you have the socials where folks could follow along on the journey?
Yes,
You can
we're
share.
the Cowboy Saloon at all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram. Eventbrite. Follow us on Eventbrite. I'm trying to get more followers on Eventbrite. I want
Okay.
people to know about our concerts when they pop up.
100%. All right, folks, you heard it there. We appreciate you joining tonight. Drum roll if I had one. Here you go, Soul Gravy.
All right. Like I said, make sure you follow on all the socials so you can keep up with the artists that are coming to town on Eventbrite and all of that stuff. Engage in the post even if you aren't going, to help it get in the algorithm and get the artist. It's all about the venues and the artists, or the venues that support the artist, and then the artists follow behind that. So that's what we try to do here. All right, so you did some homework, so I think you might know the answer to the question I'm about to ask. So Trevor, what is your favorite Little Debbie snack?
Definitely Cosmic Brownie with the
Okay,
little
Cosmic
all right.
Brownie.
M&Ms on top.
Yeah.
We've been trying to figure out how far west and how far north Little Debbie word travels. So,
We're putting a heat map together.
Oh yeah,
That'll. Our intern is actually getting ready
Cosmic
to
Brownie's
publish
got to
that.
be at
So.
the top of that because those things are amazing.
apparently everywhere except for Delaware, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. No, they're not popular. In those.
Yeah,
weird.
Patrick
Yep.
is like the only one that didn't know.
Alrighty, folks. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. Come back next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Time. I have no idea, but it's going to be somebody awesome. So, see y'all soon.
All right,
Thanks,
see ya.
Trevor.
Thanks.
Right.
All right, man. Great job.